Hey everybody, it's Mark Ling here, and today I've got with me a mega super affiliate. I call him a mega super affiliate because generally most people we say if they're making over $5,000 a week as an affiliate, they're pretty much a super affiliate, right? That's what it is to be, say, ClickBank Platinum. Anyone that uses the network, for earning commissions, if you make over $250,000 a year, then you reach platinum status. And that's really good if you manage to make it that far. But this guy that I've got with me, he is a ClickBank Diamond member, which means he's doing over $5 million per year through the ClickBank network. I myself am also a Diamond member. There are not that many of us, so you should pay close attention to what you have here today. You've got me, a Diamond member, grilling another fellow Diamond member who is obviously producing a lot in commissions every single week. And he has taught many of his students to reach platinum status, some of whom have even made diamond status themselves. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Robby Blanchard. Welcome along, Robby.
Hey, Mark, how are you? Great to see you.
Great to have you here. And I think it's important that most people on this call maybe just get a quick background about you, just so people understand like where you came from, how did you get into the stuff in the first place, and then we'll go in and try and grill you for some really strong tips that can get people underway.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So a little background on me is I started as a personal trainer, as a gym owner way back when. I went to school for exercise and sports science. And then in 2000, I had a gym. And then in 2015, I decided I wanted to go online just because I had some friends that I knew that were doing very well online. I knew that if I wanted to have success, if I wanted to make more money and more income, I had to have an online business. And so I tried a bunch of different things, and a lot of those things didn't work out until I discovered, affiliate marketing in a very specific way. And affiliate marketing, that's honestly what changed my life. And so what I've done is I basically have been able to take other people's products and promote those products specifically on places like ClickBank. And I've been able to do very well with it. So, back in 2015, I remember getting my first sale. Then I remember going and getting my first $100 day, and then I remember my first $1,000 day, and then it became, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, on and on. It went all the way up to, as you mentioned, I've been ClickBank Diamond, and actually for the last 3 years, I've been ClickBank Diamond. So, so for me, that's kind of my background. I went from being a gym owner with literally no online business. I didn't even know what ClickBank was back then, Mark, and and now I'm making quite a bit more for sure. And you know how they say diamonds are a girl's best friend. I think diamonds are an affiliate's best friend now.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I know some people, I get it. People are going to be skeptical out there. And
Yeah.
I know what that's like. In fact, I will say that when I first started online, I I spent 8 years making money on the internet, doing well in a number of niches before I started teaching people how to do well with making money on the internet.
Yep.
And when I first started teaching it, that was when I discovered that about 90% of the people teaching it were only making minimal money doing it, and all their money was from teaching it. Like I was one of the only people that was making almost all their money doing it, and the teaching it was like a little bit of icing on the cake and a little bit of giving back. It was really interesting to see. And I think it's important that people know that you're in the trenches. You've been
Mhm.
running ads and so forth constantly, like earning commissions, promoting other people's products, dialing in your strategy, adapting as time changes, and being one of the best affiliates in a large number of different like micro niches and big niches over the years. And I think that's important. And also from my perspective, for people that are skeptical of me as well, I'm a diamond, right? But my how do I say it? Most of my products that teach people how to make money on the internet are not even on ClickBank. So
Mm.
that wouldn't
Yep.
count towards my diamond status. It's entirely from almost entirely, I'd say 90 something percent is from niche markets
Mhm.
that are not to do with that niche. Um, so, and it's, I get where people get jaded though, because there are, if 90% of the people are just teaching it and that's how they make it. How do you know who's doing it and who's not? But anyway, that's why a lot of this call though is going to be talking to a guy that is doing it, so he does know his stuff, and hence he can talk with authority about how to do well in certain niches and so forth, which I think is great. And like for you, you're really, really good at doing well in, as far as I'm aware from what you've shown me in the past, in various health related niches. Am I correct that that is still the bigger niches for you personally?
Yeah, so I focus on the bigger niches for sure. I mean, and weight loss and health are probably the biggest ones that I focus on, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's just a huge market. I don't think we even can really understand how big it is, and that's, I like that because it makes it so much easier for me to advertise those products, because the chances of somebody being interested in that product are very high. The other reason why is because it's such a large market, there's more people creating products in that market. So, it makes it very easy for me to be flexible. So say an offer doesn't work anymore, doesn't convert as well, I can switch to another one very quickly. Whereas if it's a really small niche with only, not that much competition, but only maybe one or two products, then if those products start to, kind of fade away, then what do you do? And so, and then the third thing I think is also the competitiveness, because there's so many products in that market, because these product owners are competing with each other to like get the best product and get the most people to promote it. What happens is the product gets better, the conversions, which means the people that buy sales increases, and also the average order value. So how much you get paid as an affiliate also goes up, because of that competition between product owners. So for me, I love the health niche, the weight loss niche, because of those main factors. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that has got me up in arms over the years a little bit with ClickBank, and because I know that you promote products through ClickBank, and I do too, right? Is that the quality has fluctuated over the years. It has gone up and then down, then up, then down. But I guess it's important to bring this up, because some people think, well, ClickBank products, that must mean a bad thing, because there has been moments where you would say it's not even the highest percentage. It might be 25% of their products have been substandard quality. But if you bought one of those, you would just assume that they're all bad, right? Because the ones that are bad end up getting all the attention. And having been with them for over 20 years, not that that's the only network I use, I've been able to talk to them about that quality. This is a few years back now, and they've been able to actually weed out the poor quality stuff for the most part. I'm not saying that it's impossible for a low quality product to get in through ClickBank. I'm just saying that it's hard for it to stick, because when that quality isn't there, then for one, they notice it in the refund rates, they notice it in the chargeback rates, and hence it gets wiped from their marketplace, or they notice it in the complaints that other merchants that are putting all of the time and effort into quality control, into making sure that they keep on improving their products and so forth, they'll whistleblow the other person that's taking shortcuts. So, I think it's worth people knowing also, ClickBank is simply the people that process the transactions and pay the commissions. They are not a quality of product any more than Amazon is a quality of product. There are bad products on Amazon and there are great products on Amazon. There are bad products on ClickBank and there are great products on ClickBank. And, a vast majority of them are very good. It's just that there are occasionally bad apples that can make you think that the whole lot is bad. So with that in mind, how do you go about deciding if a product is good or it's bad?
Yeah, great question. So, for me, I keep it as simple as possible, and really what I focus on is I focus on the top products on ClickBank, and so so I'm not one of those guys that there's some affiliates that like to kind of dig for that obscure offer that nobody's promoting, and I don't like to do that, because if it's an obscure offer that nobody's promoting, there's probably a reason for it, and so for me, I like to focus on the top offers, because that way I know without a doubt it's a high quality offer, because if it is a top offer, there's a lot of eyeballs on it when it comes to compliance, when it comes to conversion rates, when it comes to what ClickBank's judging them as. The other reason why I like a top offer like that is for me as an affiliate. The last thing I want to have is any doubts if the product is going to convert or not, if it's going to get me sales or not. Because what I advertise, I use paid advertising to get my commissions, and so I need to focus on making sure my ad is good and making sure my landing page is good. If I'm worrying about my offer, being good or not, that's one more thing I don't want to have to worry about. So for me, I like to focus on the first one or two pages of the ClickBank marketplace. And as long as that offer's on there, and as long as it's in that niche that I like, and as long as it has a high average order value, which for me, I like to promote offers that will pay me over $100 or more per sale. Then that's kind of my checklist that I like to check off, when looking for a good offer.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes total sense. And
Mhm.
I do want people to know that there are, because some people may have heard from me teaching things slightly different. I want you to know that there's always more than one way to do something. It's a bit like a couple of top tennis coaches may have two different ways of showing how to get power into your serve or something. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It's just different. For instance, if I'm picking an offer that's more obscure, I'm actually going ahead and either ordering that offer or I'm asking for a product sample. If it's a physical product, I'm checking it out physically. So it's doing what Robby says takes a lot of time. So you can cut out the time. You'll have less offers to choose from, but you know that they're big and they're proven. And clearly someone is making $5 million a year in sales, and obviously commissions might be half of that, which is still pretty good. After paying for ads and everything, if his method's working, then it's perfect as it is. I just want to say, if you hear things that conflict, it's like, well,
For sure.
there's more than one angle. There's different ways of doing it, but obviously, if it's not as proven, then you want to know, is it just simply because it hasn't been out there that long, but it's actually really good, or so hence you want to check the offer out, or is it simply because they haven't got their sales material done right? I have found that in the past before. Massively awesome product. I can see the sales material is bad, but being an experienced marketer, I can go ahead and overcome that by, say, making my own video review of the product and then mailing to that then links straight to the cart. So there's different ways. That'd be, say, what you do when you already are ClickBank Platinum. So you're already advanced. You may go, right, now I can expand further. But when you're going from scratch, what you want to have is a simple method that has less moving parts to it, that involves a little bit less expertise, but you develop that expertise as you go full time. You have the income coming in to support yourself, just taking a little step back and a little breather and going, okay, now I can spend 20% of my time just trying a few things and seeing if something else can help me diversify my methods. And you do, because I know you test things too. You don't just do one thing and only one thing, right?
No, definitely not. Yeah, we're always testing out all kinds of different things. So, we'll test out a few offers at a time. Although I do recommend, I always tell my students, like, once you find an offer, like, focus on that offer. But as far as testing goes, yeah, when it comes to the advertising piece, like the ads and the creatives and the landing pages, like we're always testing out different angles and whether we're using like a video for an ad, whether you're using an image for an ad, like there's all kinds of little things that we're constantly tweaking and trying to find that sweet spot, because once you find those things, then you can really scale up. Yeah.
And one of the things that you are best at is driving Facebook traffic. You're really, really good at that. Even during that, there was a period when people were losing ad accounts left, right, and center. I'm not saying that can't happen. I'm just saying their algorithm was dialed in so tight because they had so few human reviewers relative to the number of ads being released that they had to set their algorithm too tight and then hope that people just appeal or something if they did have a legitimate ad but got kicked out by mistake and stuff like that. How have you managed to stay strong through all of that and managed to not only keep your own head and keep things going smoothly, but also that of your students, and managed to keep them calm if that sort of thing had happened, and so that they could, because you've got a lot of success stories, at least in the hundreds. I keep seeing them all the time flying through into my inbox. I mean, I've been on your members list, members constantly coming in with their success story, income screenshot, stuff like that, but how do you keep people going through those sticking points? And I'm not saying everyone faces the same ones, but those that do, that could be a little shock to the system.
Yeah, 100%. I think Facebook account issues has always been it comes and goes, and I would say that like you mentioned, probably a year or two back, maybe 2 years ago was when it was really kind of bad, and there was a lot of shutdowns happening, and there was a lot of issues, and if you were someone that like was just doing this on your own, or it would be something that'd be like, wow, like, am I doing something wrong? Am I a bad person? Like, did I violate something? But a lot of times, like, a shutdown can just happen. It just happens. It can be a glitch with Facebook. It can be, they're making an update and some things happened. Just like if you're driving down the road in your car and you get a flat tire, right? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you did something wrong necessarily. You just maybe hit a pothole and you got a flat tire, right? And so what I teach my students, first of all, is kind of having the mindset of knowing that, if an account shutdown happens, like it's not the end of the world, right? It doesn't mean that you can't get back up and running. Just like having a car, like just like you have a spare tire just in case something were to happen. Same thing on Facebook. You have spare ad accounts. You have spare things ready to go. And so that's one of the things I teach my students is to prepare for those things. So that way, when and if something happens, you can just switch into the next account and you just keep on going. So and the great thing about it, and honestly, I tell my students too, like that's literally the worst thing that can happen for you in this business, and it really isn't that bad. So if that's the worst thing that can happen, and you already know that's the worst thing that can happen, you can prepare for it, and you can keep pushing forward. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. So just out of interest, just for some tips here, do you prefer to go for the shorter style ads generally, or do you prefer to go, I want to get this ad generating maybe a lot of comments or a lot of likes or whatever. I go for a bit longer in terms of what's in the ad. What do you go, long or short for you, or do you always split test both anyway and then see what one's doing better?
Yeah, great question. So when I first start a new ad, I'm going to go short to start, just to prove the concept. So when I say short, it could be like your ad copy is maybe one paragraph or maybe 1.5 paragraphs. And so the reason why I go short is because, first of all, it'll let me know like, hey, this angle is working or it's not working. If the angle is working, then I can go and I can expand on that and make it a little bit longer, and make it even better and kind of tweak it as I go along. I think a lot of people make when they first start, if you're brand new to it, I would suggest you go short, just because you have the ability to make less mistakes. Because if you're brand new and you write a really long ad copy, for example, like you may just kind of ramble on, you may not really say what you need to say, you may miss something, and you're not going to know what the issue is in that long copy, whereas the short copy makes a big difference. Same thing with your with your creative, which is like your image or video on Facebook. I think that I like when you first start out to start with images, just because with an image, like you're going to know right away, like, hey, this works or it doesn't work. Whereas with a video, you may have, was it the first scene or was it the second scene doesn't work, right? So keeping it really simple when you first start out. And the great news is like Facebook, you don't have to spend a lot of money initially, and you can test very fast and you can get data very fast. So those decisions can come like within 2 to 3 days of starting your ads, where you can improve.
Do you normally get students to do anything in order to sort of warm up a new account in any way? Like, do you normally go, stay away from X niche just for the first little bit, or you're like every niche is fine, or do you normally do anything else, like say make sure that your copy is more vanilla early on or not? Is there any differences when the ad account is new?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing I would suggest for anybody, whether they're my student or not, even and honestly, it doesn't even matter what you're running for an ad. You could be running an ad for your gym. You could be running an ad for a ClickBank offer. The first thing you should do when it comes to your ad account is time. Time is your best friend. So for me, if I open up a new ad account, I'm not going to be running ads that day. I'm probably going to let it run, just kind of sit there for maybe a week or two, and then once it's kind of warmed up, so to speak, or it's been sitting there, Then what I'll do is I'll start to do some what they call boosted posts. So I'm trying to get some engagement on my fan page. I'll also do the like campaigns, which basically means I'm trying to get as many likes to my fan page as possible. And the third thing I'm looking for is I want to increase my threshold on the ad account. So there's a billing threshold on every ad account, and just think of, threshold is another word for trust on Facebook. So the higher your threshold is that Facebook is charging you at, the more Facebook trusts you. So if your threshold is, say for example, they're billing you at $25, they don't really trust you yet. But if your threshold is at $125, okay, there's definitely more trust there, which allows you to get your ads running and have more success. So those are like three things I like to do initially on new accounts. Yeah.
Okay, this sounds good. And what about I know that you send people to their own website, their own landing page. It's not going straight to the offer. Do you want to maybe just explain to people here why don't you go direct to the offer? Why is it to your own page first? And do you normally start conservative with that and then test dialing it up further later, or what do you do there?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely start conservative. Keep it really simple and also short, I think, is also good too, because you don't want to have it super long or just where people get kind of bogged down and they don't get to the actual offer, which is the whole point of the of doing this. So definitely the landing page. The reason why we want to have it for two reasons. Number one is for compliance. So on Facebook, a lot of times they will not allow you to direct link to offers because for whatever reason. So that's one thing. The second reason is honestly for better conversions. Sometimes running direct from an ad to an offer is kind of too abrupt, and so because people don't go onto Facebook or any social media platform really to buy something, and then so if you take them from a social media platform and then to an offer, it's like, whoa, what's happening? So it's better to have a simple, bridge page, or you call it pre-sale page, whatever you want to call it, where it basically changes their mindset just for a fraction of a second or two, and then it puts them in the right frame of mind, so that way it continues the curiosity and gets them over to the offer. So those are the two main reasons why you want to have a page. Now, back in the day with Facebook, you could run direct. Back way back, and those are some good times. But nowadays it's changed, and which is fine, because now you just put a simple landing page in there, and it
I get it though, because when there's multiple affiliates promoting the exact same page, say, then people, and they've got different ad copy and different types of ad copy, people can get confused, especially if one ad is worth complaining over the way it's done, and people would think it's the other advertiser and go report the other guy when they go back to look for it, and they can't find it, but they go, oh, I know it was that guy though. And I can see how there's so much confusion, and there's so much less confusion, I guess, when they get there, it's somewhere different, I guess. And also, not to mention, it gives you another ability for tracking for your own pixel's sake, and seeing it can be helpful too for the pixel to learn, like it's going from there and then it's going to there, rather than just straight in there and having to trust that the merchants put it in there, and all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot of I guess there's a lot of reasons why. Okay, so what are some of the best results that some of your students have been getting in recent times, and what's it been like for those people?
Oh man, we've had so many amazing results, which to me is like the best part. Like, it's cool to have your own success, but I'm sure you're the same way, Mark. But like when you see your students succeed, you're like, oh, that's why I do this. And so, so we've had a lot of success. I mean, one person that comes to mind is, my student Kenny. So Kenny was, he's originally from the Philippines, and he worked as a VA and he was making about $1 a day. And then he ended up moving to Canada. He tried to start another online business. He went like $40,000 in debt, I believe it was. Well, he just this past year, like first year ever on ClickBank, using what I teach, he did over $1 million in sales.
Million
for $1 million.
Yeah.
Someone from $1 a day to $1 million in 2022, which is so cool. And so he's very grateful for that. I've had another one of my students. His name is Lee. Lee was a gym owner for a personal trainer for a while. He's from the UK, and he was also in debt because he tried to do some other things, and just things weren't panning out. I remember a couple of years back he tried to join my program, and he was like, oh, I just don't know. It's so much money, blah blah blah. He ended up doing it. And now he's actually ClickBank Diamond. So he's done over $5 million himself on ClickBank.
Wow.
And he actually recently just moved to Dubai from the UK, and so he's like living the dream, which is awesome. We have another. I know it sounds funny, but we actually have another person named Lee, and this is a pretty cool story because Lee and Lee are actually really good friends from the UK, and so
Oh, yeah.
The other Lee was a police officer in the UK. And he actually, followed my program, and actually he hit ClickBank Diamond as well. So I have two Lees in my program that are literally best friends. They both hit Diamond, which is super cool. And then there's so many other stories. I mean, even one that's close to home is my girlfriend Mariah. So Mariah, and I think you actually interviewed Mariah. And
Yeah.
she used to work a 9 to 5 job, and I used to try to convince her, like, you got to try this. Like, it's awesome. Like, you're going to love it. And she's like, oh, like, English is my second language, because she's originally from Brazil. And she's like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I have the money. Finally, I convinced her to do it. And this past year, she did over $1 million in sales for herself as well on ClickBank. So, I mean, there's some crazy numbers like that. But there's a lot of people that have done very well, that haven't done $1 million. I mean, you don't have to make $1 million to be successful and change your life, right? So, another student would be like Vonda Joe. So Vonda Joe she was a flight attendant working for Southwest Airlines. And she started this system, and in her first year, she made $52,000 extra in her pocket. So, which is amazing, because that was like
Yeah.
more than she was making as a flight attendant. So there's all kinds of different stories, and even like people that got their first sale ever online. I've had one student, his name is Mohammed. For 7 years, he had a ClickBank account and made no money with it. He ended up jumping in my program, and he got his first sale within like the first 2 weeks of doing it. And to him, that was like a huge thing, because he's like, wow, I've been trying for 7 years to make money. And it wasn't until I actually did this thing that it happened right away. So to me,
Yeah.
that's the most rewarding thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is amazing. And the reason why people are able to succeed is simply because this is a model that involves spending money to make money. Any
Mm-hmm.
good business model out there, whether you are running a gym, whether you are running an accounting firm, whether you are running a coffee shop, or whether you are selling supplements on the internet or ebooks or courses or anything, every niche out there and every type of business model involves leads, conversion rates, average dollars per customer, and average number of times a customer keeps coming back through your system.
Yeah.
Those four things, okay? Leads, conversions, dollars per customer, and average number of times they come back, right? No matter what it is. And your system automatically gets the leads sorted out because you're buying the traffic. Okay. So that's why quite often paid traffic models tend to do extremely well for people, because they get that part solved more easily. Not that you can't do it with free traffic, it's just that can be more patient, can take longer. Secondly, because you're the affiliate and you're not having to get the conversions dialed in yourself, other than getting people converted as in clicking your ad. Yes, you need conversions there to get them to click through to your landing page and through to the offer, but the offer itself gets largely sort of self-liquidated, like self-sold, because that part has been dialed in. So conversion rates are largely dealt with. And then the average dollars per customer, well, you're already choosing offers that already have a high average dollars per customer, because you're choosing it. They've already got their funnel sorted out. So you're not having to create a funnel. So there's that as well. And then average number of times a customer buys from you. Well, if you do things the way Robby teaches, your pixel gets warmed up over time. Facebook pixel. Facebook sees who's buying from you, and then you run another ad in the same niche, and with that pixel you can make more sales to that same customer anyway. So there's a lot of those elements of running a business are made they're almost like on autopilot, like it's done so much easier. And that's why this sort of model can work well. And some of these other models out there that work in theory, but you try it and it doesn't work so well for you, it's because generally one of those parts of the funnel is actually very difficult. So they've got it dialed in for two parts of it, but there's a big mystery box as to how you're going to get the other couple going. Like, where's my traffic going to come from? Or Okay, I get traffic, but how's people going to actually buy this stuff? Who's demanding this product? So those things are, I think it's really good that those things are dealt with here. And it's a relatively simple model. It's not like I say, it's not like it's a model that people can't get up and making their first sales within 2 to 3 weeks if they want to. It's relatively straightforward. And when we say 2 to 3 weeks, we mean like an hour a day. We're not talking like 8 hours a day. We're talking an hour a day. Most people have day jobs or university or something going on in their lives. So they're not just quitting everything to do this. Have you got any more quick tips for affiliates before we wrap up today?
Yeah, so quick tip for affiliates, I would say the number one thing I would say is like choose and focus on one thing at a time. So for me, it's focus on that offer that you want to promote, right? If it's and focus on that niche you want to promote. Focus on that traffic source you want to promote, whether it's email or whether it's Facebook, whatever traffic source. Like just get really good at that, and stay good at that. The reason why I've gotten to where I am and become diamond is because I've just focused on that one traffic source, which to me was Facebook, and so and that's what I teach my students. So those would be the things that I would say. The other thing I would say too is like, when it comes to your advertising, the best thing you can do is, and as boring as it is actually watch the video sales letter of the offer, and take notes and write down exactly who this VSL, who this offer is speaking to, right? Because, most of the weight loss offers, for example, are speaking to, women that are going to be, 45 plus. Well, I don't know if you know this, Mark, but I'm not a 45-year-old woman. So it's really hard for it's really hard for me to figure that out in terms of advertising. So I have to put myself in the mind of that person that they are going to be advertising to. So I have to, figure out what their pain points are, what their reasons, for wanting to buy this are. Like, are they married? So all those things go into your advertising. So once again, know your customer, the person that you're trying to advertise to. Stay focused on one thing at a time. And those are really the two things I would say as an affiliate can help you have a lot of success.
And your model, with all of everything going on with AI, it's also like, it's almost like it puts it on steroids. Like what you were saying about watching the video sales letter. And I used to do that, but now I just take the video sales letter, get an AI transcript of it, and then take the AI transcript and shove that into, say, GPT and ask GPT for that info. I don't have to be the one watching it. I just ask it, like, who's the target market, what's their pain points, what's it for, blah, blah, what does this product do, et cetera, et cetera. And it will just tell you, and you didn't have to watch 45 minutes of the sales letter. It's, and it probably took better notes than you would. I'm just saying, like, there are ways of doing it. I'm sure you already share this more detail, because I know that AI has been coming into what you're doing as well. Even with the image ads and everything, it's just it's incredible.
It is.
What I want to know from you is, if somebody hasn't already jumped on a call with us, either it's coming up by the time they're watching this, or it's already taken place, but maybe we're either running an encore or something else. If someone hasn't seen a call with us, why would they want to, after what they've heard today and what you've got coming up, why should they jump on a call? And who's it for and who's it not for?
Yeah, great question. So I'll start with who it's not for. So if you're somebody that is looking to be successful as an affiliate, for example, but not spend any money on ads, and you're looking to do organic marketing, this is not for you. If you're looking to do email marketing, for example, then this is not for you as well. Like we focus on paid traffic, because I can only teach what I've had success with, right? And so for me, that's what I've been successful at. That's what my students have had success with. So that's one thing as well. Speaking of AI, one of the cool things is on the call on the workshop. I actually will show you a software that we developed where it'll actually write your copy for you. It'll actually create those images for you, and some other cool things as well. So if you are somebody that has been wanting to become an affiliate, if you've seen the success that guys like Mark have had or I've had, and you just haven't, you feel like you're missing that one little thing. I'd really encourage you to be on the workshop, because we'll chances are we're going to cover that one little thing that's going to help you get over that hurdle and finally have success. So and also you're going to hear from a lot of successful students of mine. And the reason why I share those success stories is because chances are one of those people is just like you, and they were able to make it happen. And so if they can do it, then I know that you absolutely can do it too if you follow what we teach you. So, and you'll be able to hang out with me and Mark. So there's nothing bad with that either, at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for those of you watching, so basically, you're going to get more detail. You get to see the stuff on camera rather than sort of just talking in theory about it. Like you get to see, like as Robby said, a demo of this amazing AI software that he's got that can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Imagine it's almost like you've got your personal staff member writing ads for you, but quite often these AI tools do it even better. So and Robby's been developing his own tool that that's now available for a short time if you watch this particular call. So you get to see that demonstrated. You get to see obviously what has worked for his students and how they've managed to do so well, plus the step-by-step breakdown of how his method works, what to do. So you can either go on this webinar, learn a bunch of stuff, try and reverse engineer it and do it yourself, or you can go, you know what, this is amazing and I want to be part of Robby's system, go through, have access to his software and his tools and his community. And so for some of you, that'll be right for you as well. So one way or another, it's a call that I believe many of you will want to be on. So anyway, the link to that will either be below this video or in the description below, depending where you're watching it. So make sure that you get on that call. And I just want to say a massive thank you, Robby, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with me. I really, really appreciate it.
And I appreciate you, Mark. I know that when I first started getting online, you were instrumental in helping me have success. So I appreciate you a lot.
No, thanks, Robby. Appreciate that. All right,
Awesome.
guys. So take action with what you learn. Join us for the workshop and we'll see you next time. Bye for now, everybody.